Welcome. So this time I did manage to prepare the time-lapse video before recording this voiceover, and so I'm able to see the video at the same time. Maybe it's gonna be more practical to be able to talk about what's happening. So something that I don't usually do. Today I prepared some kind of really rough composition ideas for the word of the day, which is loaded. So with this idea, first of all I went to check the definition of the word, and I kind of settled on one piece of this definition, which is about balance, like a loaded argument or something where basically there's an imbalance thing, there's an imbalanced choice. And so I went with this idea of the scale. And since yesterday yesterday's word was liquid, and we kind of added a bit to the lore, and we kind of went forward with this idea that the tiny seedling that is trapped in his dream world is kind of slowly decaying under the rule of this blob ruler. And so today I wanted to continue a bit the story. So we had this, once again, this seedling that was carried around initially to a place of safety, but some things happened, characters got involved, and in the end it ended up with this blob ruler. But only the dream world ended up there, and we didn't have any news of the tiny dying seedling which was connected to it. And so today I thought that I would bring it back and add to the lore. So we have this, I decided to go for this kind of old artifact scale, kind of a cryptic mechanism, where on one side we would have, I'm gonna draw it later, but we would have the tiny dying seedling, and on the other side we would have a piece of the abyss. So in this lore, in this kind of stories, the abyss is this entirely black, kind of flamey, liquidy substance in which there are these hidden creatures, these eyes. And so on the left side of the scale we have some kind of bottled piece of the abyss. So we have just a tiny piece of it that has been captured by these seedlings. So at the moment I'm in the time lapse, I'm drawing these so a piece of this abyss that's trying to get back this tiny bottled part of it, but it's kind of getting stopped by these different seedlings with these auras above their head. In my mind, these seedlings are the advisors of the seedling king, and so I decided for them to kind of try to stop the abyss from reaching for this tiny piece of it, because it seemed to be important for the ruler. And so here we see that I'm just drawing the ruler of the seedling, seemingly emerging from these ancient artifacts. So in the story I kind of imagine that a really long time ago there was this artifact that had been built, some kind of robotic technological entities, and it has been overrun eons ago by this spreading abyss. And so I guess at some point I'm gonna kind of go further into this backstory, but let's stick to today's doodle. So on the left side, this tiny part of the abyss that has been bottled allows the seedlings to see some kind of a vision. I'm guessing that the ruler of the seedling kind of wants to know what's happening, like where is the dream world and how he can help the dying seedling. And so the tiny piece of the abyss in this bottle shows this vision of the blob ruler, so alluding to the fact that it's the one who ended up stealing this dream world. And so on the right side of the scale we see this dying seedling that is kind of being observed, and maybe the seedling ruler is trying to understand how he can help it. We really don't know much about this tiny seedling, but he seems to be important. And so we can clearly see that the scale is tipping towards the abyss at the moment. The abyss is reaching for the left scale, and it's really heavy, and the dying seedling is extremely light, and so the scale is imbalanced, it is loaded. And I decided to add it because the composition felt a bit empty on the bottom right, so I decided to add it kind of a recurring face, a known face, which was this kind of mask that was wearing that the Wanderer was wearing. The Wanderer was this character that traveled along with this tiny dying seedling, and that's the first time that we discovered these two characters, and now they are a bit reunited. So we have this mask that kind of takes shape through these plants and tries to reach for the dying seedling, as if he lost it and wants to protect it, and it wants to reach for it. And so I'm not entirely sure if I really enjoyed I mean, I like the composition, but I feel like I should have done the abyss in another way, the left side of this doodle. It seems really flat. That's kind of an issue, that because I never really studied any kind of drawing things. I never studied how to draw shape in 3D or how to express depth. I only drew from my previous doodles, and then they turn into new doodles that were inspired by the previous ones, and shapes start to emerge, and I have some kind of lore that starts to emerge. But yeah, I'm missing a lot of the knowledge on how to draw specific shapes and this idea of depth, but I'm slowly learning it. But in the end, it ends up providing me with a kind of a unique way to portray these adventures and these stories. And so, yeah, I ended up added another advisor to really surround the abyss and stop it from accessing this tiny piece of itself. And, well, another thing that I decided to add, it's a bit later in the drawing, but another thing that I decided to add is this idea of the black sun that is on the top right. I decided to also show its slow decay, like it's becoming slowly empty, as if these events kind of impacted the whole world that surrounds them. And so we will see that, as we saw in the previous doodle, which was liquid, where we saw this black sun slowly corrupted, becoming emptier and emptier as its essence kind of flew away, kind of spread. Here we will see the kind of the same thing happening, but on a bigger scale, because this black sun is way bigger than the one we had on the previous doodle. And so in the end, I'm really happy with how this doodle adds to the lore. It's been a while since we went a bit more. I mean, we've never really went further into the story of the dying seedling in itself. I only focused on this dream world in which his mind was trapped. And so now it's quite interesting, because we have this seedling ruler that seems to be emerging from these ancient artifacts. So we add some kind of background to it, and it seems like this place is kind of a secret place for him. Not really a secret garden, but more a secret temple, that he managed to bring the seedling to, where he can do some intriguing experiments using these ancient artifacts. And I really enjoy this idea. We already had this seedling ruler come in a previous daily doodle, which was about the word omen, where he went to another of these ancient artifacts to gather some predictions on what was happening. And yeah, I really enjoy this part of the lore. So now I'm doing this black sun that is slowly getting corrupted, and I decided to go a bit slightly differently than the previous one, to show that it's going further, that the decay is expanding. So we start to have these holes showing at the edges, and in the previous one it was still kind of spreading these dots, this light pollen, and now it's almost not spreading it at all. Like, the pollen is not spreading from the circle, it's kind of decaying with it. And so we really have this idea of the sun slowly imploding on itself, while the seedling ruler is trying to understand what's happening. And it sounds a bit silly, because in the end I'm not really the one making the story. Like, I base myself on the word and I try to think of a few shapes, and then the story kind of evolves on itself. And so it sounds silly, but I'm quite excited about to discover what's gonna happen next, and what this seedling ruler will decide to do with this information, and what's gonna happen as the different suns start to decay. If the abyss is gonna continue to spread, which role will have these ancient artifacts. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it. The video just finished, so I hope you enjoyed it, and I wish you a nice day, a nice evening. Bye.